My name is Mark Levinson. I am a filmmaker, the director of Particle Fever.
Thousands of scientists from around the world spent 20 years.
There was a big journalistic event. There was all this press there. They were getting the facts. They were getting what was happening. But what wasn't being reported, and I think is important, is to see the process.
The experiment was designed initially in the mid-'80s and has taken this long to construct.
The message of the film, in some sense, is that this is an amazing human endeavor that should be supported and celebrated by everybody.
5 stories completely filled with microelectronics. All custom designed, all hand soldered. You know, it's like as if it's a 5-story Swiss watch.
I actually did get a PhD in theoretical particle physics many years ago. It's a rather unconventional route to filmmaking, and for many years seemed completely disconnected.
We construct the theories that try to explain everything we see in nature.
That sense, though, in which you are theorizing about the world and trying to come up with ideas was a certain parallel process. And the difference was that in physics, we're using the language of mathematics. It's about coming up with representations of the world around us.
It's big, no?
There was a guy who was a physicist who had proposed a documentary, but he didn't have any film experience. It was an experiment that they didn't know if it would work. If it worked, they didn't know if it would see anything, and so they thought it was a really bad idea and didn't go with it. To me, it sounded like a great idea. Found it possibly the final justification for why I went into physics.
We're trying to understand the basic laws of nature.
I tracked down David. I wanted to see what he was imagining for it, because for me, I was not interested in doing a traditional science documentary that was just going to try to explain everything about physics. But if it would be an opportunity to work with very strong characters and looking for that narrative story, that would be very interesting, and that is what David wanted.
Whatever new particles they can find. The LHC accelerates the protons in the lead, and the things that it discovers will rock you in the head.
My ideal audience member was somebody who's intellectually curious, and absolutely not just somebody in science. And a good story and good character is what engages them, and so the focus was that. That's the way people really relate to things, and we always thought that the physics was sort of secondary. It had to be true, but in fact, in constructing the film, we really worked on getting the narrative story down.
The entire control room is like a group of 6-year-olds whose birthday is next week.
And then we would go back at the end to sort of fill in the things that you actually needed to be able to understand it, to be able to empathize with the characters and see what was going on. And this is something where I think it was a great advantage that David and I had the physics understanding, that we could very confidently say we don't need to explain this, and we'll move on.
A group of fringe scientists believe the collider might create a black hole that could swallow up the Earth.
But that did become the hardest part, is how to put in the physics without really interrupting the dramatic flow. We approached it as a dramatic fiction feature film, and so we were used to using music and sound in general in a way that can augment. We always thought we probably would be using graphics somewhere, but my own inclination was I did not want it to be the typical computer graphics that are used a lot in science documentaries. And so the idea was always that somehow the graphics should have a simplicity to them, simpler line drawings, more akin to the way physicists actually think.
Without the Higgs, life as we know it wouldn't exist.
Fundamentally, we did not know that this film was going to be about the discovery of the Higgs, because almost everybody initially told me that they will not find the Higgs while we're filming.
It's been called the largest scientific experiment in history.
And I think it was a combination of two things. One is that the Higgs is so rare an event they thought it would take years to see it. And I don't think anybody thought I'd be filming that long.
We found the Higgs!
We ended up being really blessed with something that happened that we did not know initially that captured the world's attention.
It is not every day that you see a whole bunch of scientists standing up with champagne bottles and cheering.
And I think that as much as the film is resonating with people, I think it's interesting. People find it inspirational, aspirational, and that's what we really wanted.
As a layman, I would now say, I think we have it.
We wanted to make it something that just felt like it's an enjoyable, exciting experience.